thanks so much for being here with us on this second day of the Corn, Sorghum, and Soybean Seed Research Conference. Tell me a little bit about, and so you're a popcorn breeder for Schlessman Seed Company, correct?
Yes, I am.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and the company and what you do.
Thank you, Julie, for having me today. Schlessman Seed Company is a 108-year-old family-owned business based out of Milan, Ohio. They're one of the largest independent seed producers in Ohio. Schlessman produces popcorn, sweet corn, field corn, wheat, and soybeans. I am the popcorn breeder for Schlessman. With the popcorn breeder comes everything from the breeding to the development and advancement and to the marketing and sales. I'm an Iowa native. I grew up in Iowa. Got a background in livestock and cattle.
So tell me a little bit about, you, in previous conversations, you've said that you have an unconventional career path. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because not everybody knows what they want to do, but they're still able to put their skills to use. And the plant science and seed industry can certainly make use of that.
I do have probably one of the most unconventional backgrounds to coming into plant breeding. I grew up on a cattle farm. I graduated. I decided I wanted to go into auto body, and I have a degree in auto body collision repair. And after that, I started studying at Iowa State to be an ag teacher. And through that process, I got hired on at Post Seeds and started off as a seed counter and had wonderful mentors through my career. There's been a handful of gentlemen that have taught me a lot and helped me advance, and they've helped me a lot to get where I am today. And I do not fit the mold for most people, and that's all right.
Yeah. You had a passion for animal genetics and put that to use on the farm growing up. And how have you used that in plant breeding?
Yeah, growing up, we showed a lot of cattle, but we had a 250 head purebred shorthorn herd. And from a young age, I learned about pedigrees and breeding and combinations of pedigrees and breeding. And then I also showed a lot of rabbits, and we showed hogs. And those experiences are really unique and sometimes overlooked in our industry, I believe, because the people that are breeding and showing these animals, their passion is huge for what they're doing, but their knowledge of understanding how this combination and this combination together makes a superior animal directly applies to what we're doing in plant breeding today.
Mm-hmm. And we talk about, as an industry needing more skilled and more talented people who excel in those types of areas. And so just considering that as an opportunity to bring new people in, not that they don't get into vet school, but maybe that's not the direction they end up wanting to go after getting into some of those classes or doing some internships. And that's a way where we're still able to use that.
My kids are old enough to show animals now. And into the showing world, you have kids that are 9 years old up to 21 competing in the ring. And these kids don't even understand the seed world out there. And they are extremely skilled at what they're doing. And along the way, a lot of them get drifted into business and other industries. They don't see what's our seed world. We all work in an echo chamber a lot of the times. We all have the people that we communicate with in the seed world. And there is a plethora of kids out there that would be excellent leaders in our industry, but we aren't getting to them.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I say is even for students and kids interested in agriculture or that are familiar with agriculture, the seed industry still remains this black box that very few people really get insight into or to um, develop an appreciation for and to understand the opportunities that are available. And so I know there are a lot of efforts right now to take that message to students and to really share the careers and opportunities that the industry has to offer.
Definitely. And these kids, they thrive on the individual autonomy that they get when they have their own breeding programs. I mean, that's what they have at their homes. They have their own breeding programs, and they're developing these things. And so that knowledge base is there, is already instilled. It just needs to be fostered and reached out to.
Mm-hmm. So I was really interested in sitting down with you because we sit down with a lot of corn breeders throughout the year, and I can't say that I've ever sat down with a popcorn breeder. So I was really curious just to sit down and talk with you, and to understand what it is that that makes popcorn breeding different than your commodity corn.
Right. I worked in commodity corn for a lot of my career, and when I came to popcorn, I was a little naive. While a lot of the techniques are the same, and a lot of the equipment we use is the same, popcorn is its own little world. And when we start talking about agronomics, popcorn doesn't have the generations of breeding that field corn has. And a lot of the innovations that are out there for breeding technology are really out of our reach because of cost. We're 250,000 acres in the US, corn's 90 million. And so there's just the amount of money that comes back into it. There's a lot of conventional breeding. There's a lot of art and technique of just your eye being able to differentiate. And so for agronomics, it's really tough, but standability and being able to get it to harvest is everybody's goal.
Mm-hmm. Are you selecting for characteristics in terms of resistance to certain insects or certain disease that's maybe more prevalent than others as well?
We do screen our inbreds and hybrids for most of the common diseases that are out there. Some new things coming along, like tar spot, which is an issue for a lot of people, and it is for us too. But from the agronomic side, a lot of it depends on good old-fashioned selection of hybrids.
I was talking with Francis Glenn yesterday, and he was saying, that there are fewer and fewer people, plant breeders actually, in the field these days, and that we have a lot of breeding being done in the laboratories, which is really good, but more work needs to be done in the field to give that comprehensive picture.
Yeah, I worked for a large company for a small stint, and the joke was they have armchair corn breeders. That's doing some of them injustice of what they're doing, but being in the field, hands-on, being the one to put it in the ground, to take it out, and to handle it all the way through, you don't get much more intimate with your crop than understanding it.
Mm-hmm. Really, really looking at it every day and being hands-on and doing the scouting and the field work and that type of thing. When we talked earlier, you had mentioned that because popcorn is a food ingredient, or it is a food directly consumed, that there's a whole nother level of work and breeding, another aspect that goes into it. So talk with us about that.
Yes, the basics of popcorn is to eat, and that's our end goal there. So while agronomics is one part of it, the other part of it is eating quality and the type of flake that it produces when it pops, how well it pops, the expansion, and ultimately there's flavor involved too. So trying to combine things like expansion and whole dispersion and a flake type and it becomes very challenging.
So at Schlessman, are you known for a certain type or a certain characteristic?
We put a lot of focus on what we call quality popcorn. We want what we sell to be able to be popped and eaten and enjoyed. There's always a large push for more yield on the grower side of it. Yield is very important, and we push for that also, but we want to make sure that our eating quality is always there and that it's good popcorn to be enjoyed by everyone.
Mm-hmm. So do you have to do a lot of tasting, or what does that process, what does that consist of?
So I do pop a lot of popcorn. Most winter I will pop close to 200 gallons of popcorn a day.
A day?
A day.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I have taught my cows to eat popcorn, my pigs to eat popcorn. I've given popcorn away to everybody in town, and you still have a lot that doesn't get fed up. I've got some videos of my cows eating popcorn, and it's quite interesting.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so we pop a lot, and then when it comes to taste and flavor, that becomes a very subjective thing, because what you think tastes good at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, your perspective changes, because, well, as you go through that much popcorn a day, your perspective is skewed. So it's a relative thing.
Gotcha. So how do you filter out what is good and what is bad, and narrow it down, because that's a lot of popcorn.
That is a lot of popcorn. So we use a standard machine called the Creeder's MWVT for testing expansion. And expansion is a very important aspect to our customers. And so that is a good way to make a cut. Things such as hole dispersion, how well the holes break off or disappear or don't disappear, depending on the end user. Those are good ways to cut things. And then when you get down to a certain cut, you start tasting things and finding other people to taste them, because what I think tastes good may not be the same to you. So yeah, I recruit lots of volunteers.
You've got people to verify.
That's right.
What are your specific goals for Schlessman hybrids?
At Schlessman, we want to deliver our best product to our growers, but we also provide a lot of service. We are true seedsmen, and with the knowledge of seeing the parents developed, working in our production field in Milan, Ohio, to produce the hybrids, and then delivering them to our customers, we have a very good understanding of what our hybrids can do, what they can't do, strengths, weaknesses, and getting that support to our customers and to their growers is a huge part of what we do and what we want to do. We all want to grow market share, obviously, but building relationships with customers that reach beyond business. They become friends, and you become, other parts of your life become part of it.
Yeah. From your perspective, what is the number one issue that's kind of top of mind for you?
I'm going to say number one issue for the popcorn in general is growth of market. We've seen some decline in the microwave side of it, increase in the pre-pop market, but overall, for us to grow more acres, we need more consumption, or we need to find another use for popcorn other than just popcorn.
So are you seeing a trend for declining consumption over the past, number of years?
Consumption is growing. Developing countries around the world, consumption is growing, awareness is growing. They're going from popcorn that was just popcorn to understanding that there's different types of popcorn and qualities of popcorn. And those markets take time to emerge. And even then, we know that at some point there kind of becomes a cap of how much. And so how do we break that? How do we find new products? And from the seed side of it, we want to make sure that if our grower has an idea, an end use, that we can supply that product to them and help them succeed.
Fantastic. And you talked about the international market a little bit there. And so that obviously involves trade. And, I don't want to get into politics too much,
Right.
but, there's the, phytosanitary issues and a whole host of things that impact that. What are you paying most attention to, and what's kind of got your time and energy?
Right. Well, we have customers that do a lot of export seed, and trade is a definite issue in today's world. And whether it's through tariffs or if it's through government blocks through phytosanitary issues, they all are issues that we have to address, and we have to try to get through them as quickly as possible. It affects markets, and it affects market share and revenue.
Got it. As I wrap up here, because we're butting up against the end of our time, what is some advice, or what one piece of advice would you give to a young plant breeder getting ready to enter the field?
Try to find the older plant breeder or agronomist or leader that can offer you their time and their experience, and grab every bit of knowledge from you can. They 20, 40 years older than you, they've seen a lot of things, and they've seen a lot of things come and go. And there's a reason some of them go by the wayside and some of them are mainstays. So mentoring is still something that I feel is hugely underrated today.
Mm-hmm. And the good thing is that we've got a whole group, or set of plant breeders who are on the cusp of retirement, and they don't want to completely lose touch with the industry.
Right.
And so they're looking for ways to stay engaged. And so definitely take advantage of that expertise.
Yes, wealth of knowledge there. Wealth of knowledge.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me today, Sterling. I so appreciate it, and we wish you much success at your meetings.
Thank you. Have a good day.